So there are four key methodological approaches we're going to look at. So the first of these is the positivist methodology. Now, positivist methodology is all about seeing the world in scientific approaches, trying to compare sociology or make sociology comparable to the natural sciences. The key figures from this would be Comte, who started off this idea of discussing and studying the social world as if it's governed by the same laws as science, but also it was developed by Durkheim and his idea of looking for social facts and cause and effect relationships, particularly in his suicide study. The types of data that are preferred by positivists would be the macro, quantitative, reliable data, which is often representative and generalizable because of its large scale. The methods that are used would generally be these quantitative methods, so questionnaires, structured interviews, non-participant observation that's been structured or standardized, so think about Flanders and the FIAC system, lab experiment statistics, or systematic content analysis. These would be the quantitative methods. And key studies, as I mentioned earlier, was Durkheim and his suicide. So that was specifically a study in which he took a very subjective, very emotive, personal topic like suicide and applied the scientific principles. He used scientific statistical data. He removed any bias, any objectivity, and again tried to show cause and effect relationships, a very key study in this debate. Interpretivist methodology is slightly different. So this is an approach which is all about trying to understand human society. You can't take a scientific approach as we do in positivism. They want to discover and interpret meanings, feelings, emotions. The key thing here is Verstehen, and that's the only way we can understand society, particularly because individuals have free will and autonomy. So Weber is a key figure here, and particularly his studies try to highlight this personal, empathetic understanding of the world. So here again, Verstehen is the key thing here. Now, with positivist methodology, interpretivist methodologies, it's about avoiding those scientific objective values. It's all about discovering the meanings and the feelings. A real key argument is that individuals are social beings. We construct the world around us through meanings and social construction, and therefore we need to study these to understand the world. Douglas is also a key figure, which obviously provided a parallel study to Durkheim, looking at suicide but emphasizing the meanings, the feelings, the emotions, an idea that coroners are the ones who make decisions regarding the sudden death. So again, there is a subjective and socially constructed story or definition to suicide. Methodology is very different to positivist studies. So it's micro, qualitative, valid, high Verstehen, high validity, and they prefer studies which might be ethnographic. The methods reflect this with unstructured interviews, group interviews, participant observation, whether it's overt or covert, field experiments, documents, and thematic content analysis. And a key study to demonstrate this approach would be thinking about Weber and the Protestant work ethic. The feminist methodology, again, very different, but it's focusing on feminist values and feminist methodologies. So the idea being that most sociology at this point has been masculine, male-dominated, or male-stream, and it takes a scientific approach focusing on social class and ignoring gender. So key figures here would be Oakley, who initiated and created and developed this feminist methodology. So looking at the feminist model of interviewing, which is about drawing on her own experiences. So there is a bit of subjectivity, personal understanding in her data, but it's also about trying to create this idea that the women being studied, the interviewees, are not passive. There isn't a power relationship of researcher-researchee, but they are on par, they are working together, and they become collaborative friends. This is all about empowering women and empowering the participants. The types of data being used are not too dissimilar from interpretivism. So again, it's very micro, very qualitative, high validity, all about Verstehen, and obviously there is elements of ethnography. So Oakley, in her study, she used unstructured interviews and overt participant observation. It is worth noting Oakley did include some structured questions in her research, allowing her to build up some statistics from her research. So a good example of methodological pluralism. And obviously the key study is Oakley's From Here to Maternity, which is what kind of initiated this feminist methodology. Last but not least, we have the postmodern methodology. So postmodernists, they claim that the facts and knowledge gained by sociologists are simply one set of information, one set of ways of understanding the world around us. Key figures would be Lyotard, who started this process, the idea that information is storytelling and there's no way to distinguish between the true and the untrue. All we can do, or all postmodernists suggest we should do, is collate as much of this information. So all types of data are equally valid, whether it's quantitative, qualitative, ethnographies, it's all valuable. And really the argument is developed by Tyler, who talks about how we should use these ethnographies, use this research in the librarian way, collect all the information. Once we've collected all the information, that would help us to make an understanding of the world around us. But really, all information is equally valid, and it just tells one part of the puzzle in the big picture of society. And then last to say, a key study is Lyotard, who mentioned, who started off this idea of the postmodern condition, and he talked about this report on knowledge, which suggested this librarian and collection approach. And there we have it. So a short summary of the methodological approaches used within this topic. As I say, it's worth noting that these methods will be used quite heavily in the last sections of theory and methods, and can be used within the science debate, within value freedom and value laden debates, with sociology as a science. So again, it's worth being familiar with these debates and also using them as you need to. And there we have it. So thank you for watching. I hope this has been of some help. Obviously, if you like the video, just give me a like, subscribe. Obviously, I'll be trying to make as many of these as I can as part of consolidation of the course. And thanks for watching.